Lately, the word holistic seems to be popping up all over the place for me. I see it in articles, hear it in discussions
Uh-huh.
about everything from wellness to tackling big problems. It really got me curious.
Yeah, it's definitely a word that's gained a lot of currency.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, we're focusing just on that word holistic. We've got some material here that sort of breaks down where it comes from and what it really means.
Sounds good.
Yeah, the aim is pretty simple, really, just to unpack holistic and maybe see how, understanding it better could give you a richer perspective on things.
Great place to start. It's a word with, well, more depth than you might think at first glance.
Okay, so where do we begin? Origins.
Let's do it. Etymology first. So, holistic actually comes straight from the Greek word holos,
Huh.
H-O-L-O-S,
Holos. Okay.
and that means whole or entire. But interestingly, the term itself, holism and then holistic, they're actually quite modern, coined back in the early 20th century.
Huh. So the idea of thinking about the whole might be ancient, but the specific label holistic is relatively new. That's interesting.
Precisely.
But okay, ancient idea or modern term, the core concept is looking at the entire thing, not just the individual components.
That's exactly it. The absolute key is interconnectedness.
Hmm.
A holistic view really emphasizes how all the different parts relate to each other and, importantly, the context they sit in.
Right.
You can't really get the full picture just by, dissecting it and looking at the pieces separately.
Makes sense. And what's fascinating, like you said, is how widely this applies. The source material mentions wellness, education, systems thinking.
Mhm.
It seems relevant almost everywhere.
It really does. And you hear that reflected in everyday conversation, don't you? People talk about a holistic approach or needing a holistic view.
Yeah, this phrase is holistic approach, holistic view, holistic understanding, even holistic perspective. They come up a lot.
They do.
Hmm.
And I think that shows a kind of widespread, almost intuitive grasp of why seeing the bigger picture is valuable. Like, we know instinctively that just focusing on one small bit can be limiting.
Totally. And it's not just abstract jargon. When someone says she prefers a holistic approach to health,
Hmm.
you immediately get it. She's thinking diet, exercise, stress, mental health, the whole system, right? Not just, say, treating a headache.
Exactly that. Or if someone says, we really need to take a holistic view of this problem,
Yeah.
it means looking beyond the surface symptoms, trying to understand all the contributing factors and how they're interacting.
Like digging deeper for the root causes and connections.
Precisely. Or another example, his parenting style is more holistic.
Mm-hmm.
That suggests considering the child's whole well-being, emotional, social, developmental, not just, managing behavior.
And the therapy example, too, focusing on holistic healing, not just symptoms, it really drives home that idea of interconnectedness for well-being.
It does.
But it's not just personal stuff, is it? This thinking applies on a much bigger scale, too.
Absolutely. You see it in news headlines or policy discussions. Like, new policy promotes a holistic approach to education.
Okay, so that means moving beyond just grades and test scores.
Right. Thinking about creativity, social skills,
Yeah.
emotional well-being, the whole student experience.
Yeah.
Or another one, doctors are calling for a more holistic view of mental health.
Which implies integrating mind and body,
Yeah.
social factors.
Exactly. Integrating the psychological, the social, the biological, not seeing them as totally separate buckets.
And maybe the biggest example these days. A holistic strategy is needed to address the climate crisis.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
Yeah.
You simply can't tackle something that complex with a narrow focus.
Right. It forces you to consider everything: emissions, energy, economics, social justice, global cooperation. It's all linked.
It has to be. Otherwise, you're just tinkering at the edges.
So if we boil it all down, what's the main takeaway here?
I think the core message is that this holistic perspective really pushes us, encourages us to look at the entire system, the whole picture, and crucially, the relationships between the different elements within that picture.
It's about seeing the connections.
It is. Recognizing that things are interconnected and understanding those connections is often, well, essential for a deeper, more effective grasp of pretty much anything, from your own health to these massive global issues we just mentioned.
Yeah, looking wider can show you links or levers you'd completely miss otherwise.
Definitely. It opens up different ways of thinking about problems and solutions.
Okay, so here's a final thought, something for you listening to maybe mull over. How might consciously trying to adopt a more, well, holistic view change how you understand a challenge you're facing right now, or maybe just an area you're interested in?
Yeah, think about the different factors involved. How might they be influencing each other in ways you hadn't perhaps considered before? What's the bigger system they're part of?
Worth pondering. Seeing the whole picture might just change the picture itself.